aspects of society. So by dropping the price on this one thing, you'll be dropping the price on everything. It has like a cascading effect of improving everybody's lives. And imagine not having to worry about having to pay your power. Like some people are paying a whole lease or a car payment or another mortgage on power every single month, just in utilities. And that could be eliminated to where people would actually have money to spend on themselves. But then these energy cabals would not have this money and they wouldn't have the power over us. Also remember that the petrodollar is part of the American dominance, which I've talked about before. So fusion is also undermining the petrodollar. So this ultimately will probably transition when we go into whatever cryptocurrency Trump or the other people behind him will do. Which, wasn't it Palantir that was talking about stablecoin, which has links to possibly intelligence services, like American ones, maybe even other ones. So, I'm sure if it's called stablecoin, it's going to be totally stable, right? Just trust Palantir and the CIA. They're definitely trustworthy. And look at Trump with the Trump coin and Melania coin, cryptocurrencies. He's already done 2 rug pulls to steal money, which is blatant grifting. That should be illegal. We just don't have the laws to catch up with it right now. But that sort of grifting, it should be absolutely illegal. That is just a joke. But that goes to show of what could happen with stablecoin, is the dollar plummets and then we're forced to trust stablecoin. So anyways, I'm just talking about how massive the fusion aspect is for society, that it transforms everything, even like geopolitical power struggles. It definitely has to do with that. And remember of the sovereignty aspect that I was talking about. So let's go finish up this. We're at the very end of how to learn about investing in fusion. Materials and components. Fusion reactors will need advanced materials for containment walls, superconductors for magnets, etc. Companies that make specialized alloys, ceramics, or superconducting tapes could see a surge in demand. One example, a firm that produces high-temperature superconducting wire used for powerful magnets and fusion tokamaks could become very important. Some of these are small tech manufacturing companies. And on the materials and components aspect, I'll just add real quick that in the last 24 hours, they're saying that we're going to have a massive memory chip problem. And it's going to become an increasing crisis into 2026. And some of the prices for memory chips have doubled in 24 hours. And the price of SSDs and memory drives are just going to keep on going up. And again, that it might not get better because AI is just taking up all the chips. So that's pretty concerning. That's like all of our devices. Precision manufacturing and engineering. Look at firms that build complex scientific equipment or power plant components. If fusion projects scale up, they may partner with established turbine manufacturers, because even a fusion reactor ultimately drives turbines to generate electricity in many designs. So companies like GE Aerospace, Siemens, and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, which make turbine and power systems, could get fusion-related contracts. Artificial intelligence and computing. Since AI is aiding fusion research, you could invest in the broader AI trend as a tandem strategy. So this is what I was talking about with AI being a tandem strategy. Not only is AI researching fusion, but fusion is being made to power AI. So it's like a cycle. They're creating an economy, its own economy within this. Chip makers like NVIDIA, whose graphics processing units run AI models, or companies specializing in industrial AI, might see additional businesses from fusion development efforts. While AI itself is a huge trend independent of fusion, there's synergy here. Both are transformative, and some firms may straddle both domains. For instance, a simulation software company could sell to both AI researchers and fusion engineers. ETFs and funds. And I had to look this up of what is an ETF, and because I'd never heard of it. It says that an ETF is a fund traded like stock. Its value is changing as shares of it are bought and sold. Most ETFs are passive, meaning they simply track a market or sector. Active ETFs are different. Active ETFs have hands-on portfolio managers who look to uncover market opportunities and select investments with the goal of outperformance, rather than merely tracking an index. So here they're saying that you can like invest your money and get it put into a collective group of people and then have somebody manage that fund for you. So again, seems pretty scammy. But that's one way, I suppose. For example, an ETF focused on next-gen energy might include companies in nuclear technology, hydrogen, and possibly any publicly traded fusion-exposed firms. Similarly, some tech-focused funds might indirectly have fusion exposure via holding Alphabet, Microsoft, etc. Position sizing. Given the early stage of fusion, you might want to start small in a position of a couple promising stocks or a fund related to Helios. This small stake satisfies the urge to be part of an opportunity without putting too much capital at risk initially. As milestones are hit, say a company achieves a noteworthy result or a prototype plant opens, one could add to the position, effectively averaging up as confidence increases. This way, you're not all in from day one, but you are ready to capitalize as the vision gets de-risked over time, which is actually really sound advice. Like, out of everything that I just read, that's the reason that I read all of this stuff, is because in a sense that it is right. Like, all of this stuff is right, but it's not wrong, but the chances of it, and it seems like the house always wins. You know, the house always has the odds in its favor. So, like, what are the chances of you being one of the people that, I mean, if you're following me, then I guess you have a better chance than everybody else. That's for sure. But, and you listen to the podcast, but it's still not a sure thing at all. I mean, like, we had the other guy, I think it was Quantum Fusion was the name of the company, and they're publicly traded. But is anything happening with them? I mean, I hope one day that it changes the world. But again, they weren't selected by big tech. All of these defense industries didn't pick them. And personally, I feel like that's because like the CEO guy in charge was too benevolent. They want somebody that aligned with their ideology of supremacy, and being a supremacist. In all different methods, in all different aspects, like a full domain supremacist. Their ideology is being at the top and having everybody else beneath them. And they're addicted to it. So that's why he wasn't selected, in my opinion. This is a space where staying informed is key. Subscribing to financial research like Stransberry newsletter, that's the person that the people that I'm reading, or even free news sources on science and energy can help you know when critical events happens, which is basically what my podcast does, only it's free. With these people, they like want you to pay money just to follow what they're saying, which is fine if you want to do that. It's interesting. I mean, they put together a good article as far as like talking about the transformation of society and massive economic impact. So let's continue on with the Bezos Amazon theme. Idaho National Laboratory accelerates nuclear energy projects with Amazon Web Service, cloud, and AI technologies. Idaho Falls, Idaho. The Idaho National Laboratory and Amazon Web Services, AWS, will collaborate to use AWS's advanced capabilities and cloud infrastructure to develop artificial intelligence tools for nuclear energy projects. I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple weeks ago, AWS went down and caused a massive portion of the internet to collapse. So using AWS for nuclear energy when AWS can't even run the internet you get the picture. We got to be careful using AI to run nuclear energy. We have to make sure it's stable and it's safe. And firing everybody and replacing them with AI to where it's like AI running AI didn't work well, but whatever. INL leads the nation in adopting AI for the nuclear energy industry. The laboratory is developing a suite of technologies that use AI to reduce the costs and timeframes of designing, licensing, building, and operating nuclear facilities. Ultimately, the tools could be used for safe and reliable autonomous operation of nuclear reactors and accelerating deployment of new advanced reactors. AWS Advanced Computing Power and AI Foundation models through Amazon Bedrock will help INL further develop these capabilities. Our collaboration with Amazon Web Service marks a significant leap forward in integrating advanced AI technologies into our nuclear energy research and development initiatives, said INL Director John Wagner. This collaboration underscores the critical role of linking the nation's nuclear energy laboratory with AWS. By leveraging AWS's cutting-edge cloud computing and AI solutions, we can accelerate nuclear energy deployment for America. This agreement with AWS fits with the larger INL strategy to create an ecosystem where Department of Energy laboratories, AI technology companies, and nuclear energy developers can collaborate. By providing INL access to its cloud computing and AI capabilities, AWS is enabling a nuclear energy AI at scale, said Chris Ritter, Division Director of Scientific Computing and AI at INL. Through this collaboration with AWS, we have access to AI models, GPUs, and specialized cloud services, including Amazon's Bedrock service, which will enable INL researchers to many leading foundational models to nuclear energy applications. Amazon offers customized chips such as Inferentia and Trainium, specialized tools such as Amazon SageMaker and Solution Architects to partner our laboratory with commercial AI industry. The collaboration will accelerate the deployment of nuclear energies to power data centers of the future, advanced reactors with growing levels of autonomy, developed through laboratory director research and development funding could be part of the solution. Now, using AI to monitor reactors, like I said, we got to make sure that stuff is safe and that it's stable and reliable. But an AI might be able to see things coming with what's happening inside of the reactor before a human can, and seeing like micro changes in energy faster than a human can. So it can respond to whatever's happening in the reactor faster than a human, and maybe even be able to predict something from happening. So having AI help with nuclear reactors might be a really good thing, but we have to make sure that it's safe, of course. AWS's powerful and AI computing technologies will support Idaho National Laboratory in development of autonomous nuclear reactor to pioneer a future where civilian nuclear operations are safer, smarter, and more responsive, said David Appel, Vice President of U.S. Federal and Global National Security and Defense for AWS. We're proud to collaborate with the Department of Energy and Idaho National Laboratory to accelerate safe, advanced nuclear energy that will strengthen American energy leadership and our technological edge. INL will use AWS compute and AI tools to develop a digital twin of a small modular reactor. Nuclear reactors that range in size from 20 to 30 or 300 megawatts of electricity. Digital twins are virtual models of real-life assets such as nuclear reactors. A digital twin of a small modular reactor could use near real-time data from the physical reactor to enable advanced modeling and simulation, which is an important step toward using AI for autonomous operation. INL is committed to accelerating nuclear energy deployment and advancing autonomous nuclear operations, and leading nuclear energy science through transformational AI technology achieved with AWS and nuclear energy industry. So I kind of want to remind everybody of the old saying that whatever is available publicly is like 20 or 30 or 40, 50 years behind what the government has privately. And you guys remember when I was talking about that the Nazis in World War II may have had small reactors and were attempting to miniaturize them and make them modular. Then you guys remember in the moon episode, we talked about the Los Alamos patent of the nuclear boring machine that had the small modular reactor as the power plant, and it was thermally heating the rock in front of it and making a tube that it could pass through and seal itself off. And so here they're talking about making autonomous nuclear modular reactors that are very small. And again, I will remind everybody that Putin with Russia and China, Xi Jinping, we're talking about, and now India, we're talking about putting these sorts of assets on the moon, which is exactly what I had said. Well, that we may have done before. And now there's a surge of nuclear rocket technology as well in America, as well as Russia, I suppose. So that's pretty interesting, and should probably do an episode bringing all of that stuff together at some point. But I just wanted to remind you guys of all those dots, that's like a string of information of through the timeline about these small modular reactors that we're led to believe that we're just now bringing out. So I wanted to read this from Chosun Daily, and this is from 4 hours ago. Korea and Japan funds earmarked for U.S. nuclear infrastructure. And I talked about the imperialism and hegemony and how the tariffs are being used to vacuum and hoover up the money and bring it to America to make sure that it stays at the top, because we're in a crisis right now in America. So this is the evidence of that. Oh, I mean, there's a lot of evidence for it, but this take a look at this. This is crazy. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick announces $750 billion investment and allocation prioritizing nuclear power plant construction with profit sharing split. So apparently we're gonna do multiple nuclear power plants all at once. Not only are we doing these small modular reactors, the SMRs, but apparently we're going to do supermassive facilities as well in the United States. And so, like, I guess they're going to try to keep the price down even further by making supermassive power plants. Hopefully they make them safe. U.S. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick announced on the 2nd local time, this October 2nd, that part of the investment funds from South Korea and Japan established through tariff negotiations will be allocated to constructing nuclear power plants in the United States. During the cabinet meeting at the White House, Lutnick cited $750 billion total cash investment, Japan $550 billion, South Korea $200 billion, agreed upon by the two countries, and stated, "We will start with nuclear power." And I just have to say real quick as well, with Japan putting in $550 billion, they've been putting in work as a U.S. ally. I mean, and by quote-unquote ally, I mean a vassal. Like, they've been kissing the ring of the king. And they're even saying that Japan will go to war with China over Taiwan. And I'll say real quick, Japan had previously tried to colonize Taiwan before World War II and had a 50-year brutal reign. And so there's a historical context of Japan owning Taiwan, trying to colonize it, and like doing atrocities there. So when Japan comes out and says, we're going to take over Taiwan, and this is happening now, that's what Japan came out and said, which is insane. That's absolutely insane. The American government says Taiwan is part of China. It's called the One China policy, which Trump's trying to back away from now. But basically, Taiwan's a state of China. And this whole separatist thing has been really led on by the Westerners. And you can see Japan here like saying, we're going to come and invade or we'll have military action. It's insane. It will destroy Japan. It will destroy the world. We should have no war. This is insane. I just had to say that Japan's been bowing down to the American hegemon, and it will bite them in the butt. He emphasized the U.S. needs a massive nuclear infrastructure for power generation. We will build it with hundreds of billions of dollars funded by Japan and South Korea. Do you think their people want better schools or better roads or better hospitals? I mean, they already have that better stuff than us, but I'm sure South Korea is going through a hard time right now. So I'm sure they could use some of that. Lutnick added, we will build here and split the cash flow 50-50. And also mentioned, we will spend $150 billion to build ships in the U.S. His remarks came during a cabinet session where ministers took turns presenting their achievements. Earlier, the U.S. released a fact sheet through a memorandum understanding MOU with Japan, specifying that over half of Japan's $550 billion investment, $332 billion, will be allocated to constructing large-scale nuclear reactors and small modular reactors in the U.S. South Korea also signed an MOU agreeing to invest $200 billion in cash out of its total $350 billion investment, targeting sectors such as shipbuilding, energy, semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, critical minerals, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing. So this is all the stuff that America's behind in. That's why they need this massive investment, this stimulus fund from our allies of just kissing our you-know-what. And that's what Trump said, too, that all these leaders will line up to kiss his you-know-what. That's what he said. That was a direct quote. The remaining $150 billion will be used for shipbuilding investments, including cash investments, foreign direct investment by Korean companies, guarantees, and ship financing. So I think this will actually push a lot of people away, a lot of countries away from America, watching how we treat our allies, quote-unquote allies, who would want to do business with us while our dollar's collapsing, as we've already talked about. And apparently, I just saw a thing where some businesses are demanding to be paid in euros. So that's not good. Profit sharing from the investments will be split 5 by 5, I guess 50-50, between South Korea and U.S. until principal repayment, after which it will shift to 1-9, South Korea to the U.S. So then we'll have 90% of the money after we repay it. Meanwhile, President Trump remarked during the meeting that before he imposed tariffs, allies and other countries extorted money from the U.S. indirectly, referencing South Korea and Japan. He stated, I won't name the countries, I won't mention Japan, I refuse to mention South Korea. Wow. They exploited our nation to an extent never seen before, but now we're making enormous profits due to the tariffs. Wow. Okay. So, keeping on the international politics trend. China has it, Russia has it, India's working on it, the small nuclear reactor race. And again, we got to remember that the Germans at the end of World War II, that there is evidence that they were building these. So this technology has existed since the 40s. And both the Soviets and the Americans had it. And it's probably spread out through the world since then. But all of this stuff is coming public. When I first started covering small nuclear reactors 2 years ago, it was not public like it is now. This is brand new. It's never been talked about the way that it is. And it's crazy. We're seeing every single day stuff is changing very quickly. From nuclear, I mean, it seems like every single day there's something big that's happened. The whole Korea thing just happened 4 hours ago. And then the day before that, Trump was talking about supermassive nuclear reactors, I guess, talking about this big deal. And then we have the Comet 3 Atlas. Again, it's like every single day there's something new coming from them about that. That it has some new strange anomaly. It's just a crazy time with the news. Things are happening very quickly. So in an exclusive conversation with NDTV, Dr. Alexander Volgin, director of projects South Asia region at Russia's state nuclear corporation Rosatom, spoke about the promise of small modular reactors. From Moscow, as artificial intelligence and machine learning revolutionize industries, demand for reliable, clean, and scalable power is surging. Enter small modular reactors, compact, factory-built nuclear power units that are fast becoming the darling of global energy sector. From powering remote islands to fueling data centers, SMRs, which usually generate less than 300 megawatts of electricity, are being hailed as the next big thing in atomic energy. And India is not just watching from the sidelines. It is building its own. The Bharat small modular reactor. Today, small modular reactors are the world's envy and only China's pride. In an exclusive conversation with NDTV, Dr. Alexander Volgin, director of projects at Russia's state nuclear corporation Rosatom, spoke about the promise of SMR and Russia's openness to collaborate with India on this transformative technology. And I just had to go back to only China's pride. It's crazy that I've been saying that China's been forcing America to release this technology. And again, we have this article like confirming and affirming what I was saying, that China and other nations are pushing America to release this stuff. America doesn't want to release it because it jeopardizes the petrodollar. That's why. Which is part of our leverage against all of these smaller, quote-unquote, third world countries, as Trump has been calling them. Compact, captive... Oh, I almost skipped a piece. When we speak about SMRs, we are speaking about small modular reactors. Small means they take up less space than conventional nuclear power plants, and modular means they are factory assembled and can be transported as a single piece. Compact, captive, and customizable. Unlike sprawling nuclear installations like Kudankulam in Tamil Nadu, Russian SMRs fit into just 15 to 17 hectares. It embeds pumps, steam generators, and nuclear fuel in one unit. It's a steam-producing unit that feeds a separate turbine island. Dr. Volgin. Each Russian SMR can deliver 55 megawatts of electricity and up to 200 megawatts of thermal energy. Their uranium fuel is enriched up to 20%, higher than conventional pressurized water reactors, but still within safe limits. This reactor is really small. I just realized 20%. Wasn't that what Iran was aiming for? That they were saying, like, we're not going to go to weapons level, but we're going to go to 20%? Isn't that interesting that that's the percent? And then we were like, no, even 20% is not okay. So I wonder if they're trying to make SMRs. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I wonder. This reactor is really small. The reactor itself can be transported by a train. It is ideal for remote islands, or places where diesel is currently in use. The global race. China leads, India accelerates. Russia is already constructing a land-based SMR in the Yakutia region and has signed a deal to supply 6 units to Uzbekistan. China, meanwhile, has commissioned a 100 megawatt land-based SMR as a test unit. It's a big push now, said Dr. Volgan. Most countries are developing their own SMRs, France, the US, and China, but Russia is a pioneer. We have used small reactors on icebreakers since the 1950s. The RITM-200 reactor is an evolution of those, which is true. India, too, is stepping up. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced a bold target of 100 gigawatt of nuclear power as part of India's net zero mission by 2070. The Bharat Small Modular Reactor is being developed indigenously by the Bhabha Atomic Research Center. I think that's how you pronounce it. Mumbai in Russia is keen to be part of the journey. We are ready to provide more energy, more reactors, large scale, small scale, floating units, even advanced reactors, Dr. Volgan said. India, Russia, from Kudankulum to Bharat SMR. When asked about the possibility of co-developing India's Bharat SMR, Dr. Volgan was unequivocal. If the Department of Atomic Energy and BARC invite us, for sure we will be pleased to cooperate. Wow. Department of Atomic Energy? So are they saying that they'll help Americans? Localization is also on the table. We are developing our supply chain in India. We are in tight discussion with the government and a Department of Atomic Energy on localization and SMRs. With India opening its nuclear sector to private players, like the recent joint venture between NPCIL and NTPC, Rosatom is watching closely. It was great news. We feel the power and the wish of Indian private players to produce green energy. We will study all possibilities. Safe, proven, and green. Safety remains a top concern. But with over 400 reactor years of experience on Russian icebreakers and no accidents, which is very awesome, Rosatom is confident about the safety of SMRs. These reactors combine passive and active safety systems. They are accident tolerant and safe by design. And if you remember, the spot that the suspected Nazi SMR had very little radiation, even after an alleged accident. So even back then, when they were still having accidents and they were perfecting it and working on it, and it was only just being engineered, it still was relatively low risk compared to these supermassive facilities that Trump is saying Japan and Korea will fund. I'm not sure if that's a great idea, honestly. I think that trying to keep it smaller would be better. It seems really obvious to me, but whatever. They are also green. Nuclear energy is sustainable. These reactors can supply energy for 5 to 6 years without reloading. The future may be modular. While SMRs may have higher per unit electricity costs than large-scale plants, their low capital cost, faster development, deployment, and flexibility make them ideal for powering AI-driven data centers, remote industrial zones, and island communities. Remote industrial zones, like on the moon, ? Or anywhere out in space. I mean, we could go for asteroid mining at that point. Just saying. And with the powering AI data centers, I talked about AI centers being poisonous and bad for the environment in America because we're just doing it in the worst possible way, like the Industrial Revolution, like just making it as toxic as possible. I think it was Finland or some Scandinavian country was building their data centers under the city to power or to heat the city. Instead of using electricity to heat it, they were using the power of the data center, which is pretty awesome. So we can use data centers in a much more ecological way than just poisoning everything, is my point. India is huge. Industries need green energy, and there will be a place for all types of reactors, Bharat, SMRs, large-scale units, and floating reactors. As India races towards its 100 gigawatt goal, small reactors made by India's private sector could be the secret weapon. It's interesting they used it in that term after everything that I had said, right? So here we're coming a little bit closer to the end here. Amazon signs agreement for innovative nuclear energy projects to address growing energy demands. New small modular reactor agreements are part of Amazon's plan to transition to carbon-free energy. And they have like a trailer, like an ad here, but I'm not going to risk the copyright on it. It probably has music. As we continue our path to net zero carbon, we recently announced that we matched all of our electricity consumed by our global operations with 100% renewable energy, 7 years ahead of our 2030 goal. As the energy needs of our business and customers continue to grow, we're continuing to invest in renewables while also finding additional sources of carbon-free energy that can both help power our operations and bring new sources of energy to the grid. Nuclear power is one part of that mix. It can be brought online at scale and has a decades-long record of providing a reliable source of safe carbon-free energy for communities around the world. Today, we're announcing that we've signed 3 new agreements to support the development of nuclear energy projects, including enabling the construction of several new small modular reactors, SMRs. SMRs are a kind of advanced nuclear reactor with a small physical footprint, allowing them to be built closer to the grid, which being built closer means less waste, because transmitting the electricity, you have loss. The further you transmit the electricity, the more the loss. They also have faster build times than traditional reactors, allowing them to come online sooner. Washington State is building out a full range of clean energy options as our electricity demand is projected to double over the next 25 years. Small modular reactors and fusion energy can play critical roles in providing consumers and business reliable zero-emission energy. It's exciting to see the Tri-Cities playing a local and national role in building a clean energy future. It's why we dedicated $25 million from Washington's Climate Commitment Act for Energy Northwest, and I congratulate them on being part of AW's effort to build clean power sources that help cover their growing energy needs. Washington Governor Jay Inslee. So remember when I was saying that taxpayers subsidize, we give money to these corporations and these private actors, and we're never going to see the money again? I know $25 million doesn't sound like a lot, considering we were just talking about almost $1 trillion, or $750 billion. But $25 million of taxpayer money is a lot, especially when we're struggling here in America. So we're just handing our money over to these people, and we're never going to get it back. They're just going to keep on raising our power bills. I mean, that is to say, unless we were to stand up and collectivize and organize and tell them to stop it, and that we deserve electricity that is not exploitative, that, you know, power should really just be a human right. Electricity, like water, like air, like healthcare, it should just be a human right. Like, if you're born into the world, then you deserve electricity and healthcare and water and education and a house. All of these things should just be an expectation of how the government takes care of us, instead of just handing the money over to billionaires to keep on hoarding. This is like an episode of Hoarders. That's what I always think of it. But in the episode of Hoarders, it's always like poor people collecting massive amounts of stuff, and we're like, wow, these people are diseased, they're neurotic, they're anxious, they're kind of paranoid, they're delusional. And then we look at Elon Musk or any other billionaire who could end world hunger, could solve climate change, and instead they just keep on hoarding stuff. And we salute them and we say, wow, look at the billionaire, look at how they have everything together, look at how they're contributing to the world by making all these different corporations. Well, they're hoarding the resources and hoarding the technologies, hoarding the power, supremacist ideology. Elon Musk was just tweeting 3 or 4 days ago saying that the white race will be eliminated and that they need to spend their money on protecting the white race. So we have the world's richest man who we're just giving money to talking about that we need to like have a race war on the planet Earth. God help us. Can we stop saluting these people? It's insane. Nuclear is a safe source of carbon-free energy that can help power our operations and meet the growing demands of our customers, while helping us progress toward our climate pledge commitment to be net zero carbon across our operations by 2040, said Matt Garman, CEO of Amazon Web Service. One of the fastest ways to address climate change is by transitioning our society to carbon-free energy sources, and nuclear energy is both carbon-free and able to scale, which is why it's an important area of investment for Amazon. Our agreements will encourage the construction of new nuclear technologies that will generate energy for decades to come. In alignment with our all-American, all-of-the-above energy plan, small modular nuclear reactors will play a critical role in positioning Virginia as a leading nuclear innovation hub. Amazon Web Service commitment to this technology and their partnership with Dominion is a significant step forward to meet the future power needs of a growing Virginia. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. Developing new sources of nuclear power with small nuclear reactors. Small modular reactor. I don't know why I can't pronounce it right. In Washington, our agreement with Energy Northwest, a consortium of state public utilities, will enable the development of 4 advanced SMRs. The reactor will be constructed, owned, and operated by Energy Northwest and are expected to generate roughly 320 megawatts of capacity for the first phase of the project, with the option to increase to 960 megawatts total, enough power equivalent of more than 770,000 U.S. homes. These projects will help meet the forecasted energy needs of the Pacific Northwest beginning in the early 2030s. We're also making an investment in X Energy, a leading developer of next-generation XMRs and fuel. X Energy's advanced nuclear reactor design will be used in Energy Northwest project. The investment includes manufacturing capacity to develop the SMR equipment to support more than 5 gigawatts of nuclear energy projects utilizing X Energy technology. I don't know much about X Energy technology. I'll have to look it up. But I did see that there was some stuff that came out about it in the last 72 hours saying that it's working, they're getting the grants, they're getting the certificates, and they're moving forward with it. So this X Energy thing is definitely moving forward. So we'll have to, I'll make that an episode of its own, because I don't know. I assume it's some different type of technology of getting the particles excited to have a reaction. In Virginia, we've signed an agreement with utility company Dominion Energy to explore the development of an SMR project near Dominion's existing North Anna nuclear power station. This will bring at least 300 megawatts of power to the Virginia region, where Dominion projects that power demand will increase by 85% over the next 15 years. I'm glad Dominion and Amazon have come to this exciting agreement. To diversify our clean energy options from offshore wind nuclear energy, Virginia is well positioned to be a leader in energy innovation and job creation. I will continue to do all that I can to make sure that we are harnessing that opportunity, including by encouraging other companies to utilize the clean energy incentives and the Inflation Reduction Act that I'm proud to have helped pass. U.S. Senator Tim Kaine, which apparently was a Democrat. So again, it talked about bipartisan efforts in this, and I've talked about that as far as the military-industrial complex as well, that both the Democrats and Republicans are part of this energy cabal. I mean, not all of them, obviously, but like there are elements within them. They're both owned by the same lobbyist groups and corporations. So that's why they're both working together. instead of actually helping Americans. They're just handing over money to the rich, because that's who a lot of our representatives actually represent, is the needs and interests of the corporations rather than their constituents, which is obvious. Helping preserve existing nuclear reactors. We also previously signed an agreement to co-locate a data center facility next to Talon Energy's nuclear facility in Pennsylvania, which will directly power our data centers with carbon-free energy and helps preserve the existing reactor. So here it talks about how this is going to increase jobs, 1,000 temporary and 100 permanent, and that it could have 900 local jobs. Interesting. The world around us is changing very quickly. Advances in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and advanced manufacturing stand to revolutionize our daily lives. But they also stand to push our energy needs beyond anything we've seen before. Virginia is already a leader in nuclear energy, which is why I'm thrilled to see Dominion Energy and partner up to be the next generations of SMRs right here at home. Senator Mark Warner. As we continue to create and preserve these sources of safe carbon-free energy, we're addressing the future energy demands of business and making progress toward our sustainability goals and supporting local communities across the country. Okay, so this is our last article here. Oh, this is X Energy, I think. Next Gen XE100 nuclear reactors to power Amazon's AI and carbon-free future. Amazon unveils plans for a modular nuclear facility in Washington to power AI and advance carbon-free energy goals. A new kind of power surge is coming, and it's not digital. Amazon is plugging into advanced nuclear energy, taking sustainability goals to a new level with the SMR in Washington, called the Cascade Advanced Energy Facility. The project will help reduce Amazon's carbon emissions, power its operations, The facility will also support the growing demand for energy for AI. In partnership with Washington-based Utility Energy Northwest and SMR developer X Energy, Amazon plans to build 12 SMRs near Columbia Generating Station in Richland. The company's first investment in nuclear technology calls a new chapter in powering its operations with carbon-free energy. Building a cleaner tomorrow. SMRs are next-generation nuclear reactors that are smaller, safer than traditional power plants. Skip over that. We already know about that. This project isn't about new technology. It's about creating a reliable source of carbon-free energy that will support our growing digital world. I'm excited about the potential of SMRs and the positive impact they will have on the environment and community. Amazon has invested billions of dollars in carbon-free projects, including nuclear, through its Climate Pledge Fund. The Cascade facility will use X Energy's XE100 reactor with initial capacity of 320 megawatts, potential to expand to 960. The support of Amazon has enabled us to accelerate progress of our technology, grow our team, and position the Cascade Advanced Energy Facility as the forefront of energy innovation. This project is expected to create 1,000 jobs. And to strengthen local talent, Columbia Basin College in Pasco, Washington is launching an energy learning center with a simulator that replicates X Energy's control room. Investing in advanced training simulators prepares future operators and builds foundation for clean energy work that will power our region for decades to come. For Amazon, Cascade is part of a broader effort to add more than 5 gigawatts of nuclear energy to the U.S. by 2039, enough to power 3.8 million homes. It also aligns with the company's record as the world's largest corporate purchaser of renewable energy since 2020. So that didn't talk much about the technology. I'll have to look into what X Energy, I guess that's the name of the company, but what's the difference between this and the other SMRs? I'll have to go and try to find out. But yeah, so we gave a lot to think about here, and it's been very interesting. Still more to talk about and I'll keep on making some episodes. I have a lot of stuff that I need to crank out as fast as possible, but been very busy at work, and I'm glad to get this one done. This was a big project. So yeah, one done, and we're moving on to the next one. Adios.